Yo, what's up everybody? This is Unpunk, and we're going to be walking you through the classes within Fire Emblem Three Houses in this short video. So I'm going to kind of go through the basics of everything and walk you through as if you don't know anything that's going on with this new Fire Emblem's class system, because I was rather confused myself at first. Now, I'm assuming all of you understand that there are two base classes that will be unique classes to a character, that being either a noble or a commoner. You either get those for your characters throughout the story. They'll either have noble or commoner as their starting class. And what you're going to want to do is, first of all, finish leveling that class. So if you go into your roster, your inventory or roster, you can see the reclass ability here. And this will allow you to show off the various different classes that each character has learned or has already. So in the case of, say, Edelgard here with the black eagles, don't know why I blanked on that, she starts as a noble. If you play as the class noble and level it up, gain enough experience from fighting, you will be able to max it out, as you see on the right hand side of the screen. For example, leveling up the noble class is going to be the same ability you learn that is going to be consistent also with the commoners. So there's no difference in abilities they gain as a unique class, or their unique starting class. And that's going to be to gain 5 HP, which obviously increases maximum HP by 5, which you can equip as soon as you earn it. So basically what I'm saying here is make sure to max out their level or their experience with their unique class first. Always do that for all of the characters you get, no matter who they are. Make sure you do that. Now, next up, what I'm going to be saying is a little bit crazy, so just bear with me here. But you're going to want to skip the beginner class route unless you don't have access to intermediate. So in my personal playthrough, I leveled up the unique class, and by the time I was ready to go to beginner classes, I believe I already had intermediate ready to go for my characters. So if you are at that point in your game where you have the choice between intermediate or beginner, you can skip over beginner with not much of a drawback. Now we'll go back to Edelgard and show you another example. So if you go back to your abilities, the ability that Edelgard learned when she maxed out her fighter class, for example, which was her beginner class that I chose for her to allow her to learn more strength and more things with her axes and be able to level up her axes, is this ability here. You gain an increased strength by +2. Overall, that is not that great of an ability to spend anywhere between 3 to 5 battles to level up that class. So that's why I'm saying skip the beginner classes and go right to the intermediate. They're going to get you better abilities. For example, another class like Vyra, my main character here, she went and did her beginner class, which was the mage, and she got magic +2. Again, it's a decent ability. It's nice to have early game, but it's not nearly as good as the abilities you can get from your intermediate class. For example, like the dark mage class, which is going to be Hubert here, he earned dexterity +4 for mastering his intermediate class, whereas the beginner class just got him magic +2 again with that mage. So the abilities you're gonna learn by mastering an intermediate class is going to be significantly more useful than that of the beginner class, basically making a beginner class not worth the time to grind out early game. Now you could go back definitely late game or later in the game, or when you have extra time to battle out, and go ahead and grind out those characters' beginner classes to gain some extra abilities if you want them. But by the time you have the convenience to go and do all that, intermediate, advanced, and master classes are where you're going to want to be. Another tip and trick is to pick a class from the very beginning that you're going to want to have as your master class for that character, so you can start structuring how you want to develop that character. For example, my Edelgard, I decided I wanted to make her into a Weirvin Lord. So that way I knew I'm going to want to focus on my lance, axe, and flying skills. Now, as you guys know, you can go ahead and go into each character, go to their goals, and pick what character abilities or skills they're focusing on. So in my case, my Edelgard had plenty of experience throwing on her axes already. So what I'm focusing on now is working on getting that flying and that lance skills up to where they need to be, so that way by the time she becomes a Wyvern Knight and then a Wyvern Lord, she'll be able to pass those classes and those exams very, very easily with 100% pass rate. So for example here with a Wyvern Lord, she now is skilled enough in axes, as she's an A, to be able to go ahead and pass the exam, but she's not quite at that C, she's at that D plus for flying, so I would ideally want to wait until I get her up to a C in flying so that she can 100% pass this test, become a Wyvern Rider, and then proceed to level up the rest of the things I need to become a Wyvern Lord. Sorry, I said that class incorrect. But that's basically what you want to do with your classes. So you want to work backwards. You want to write down which character you want to go to which class. And of course you can change this at any time, but it's ideal to start from the beginning of your game or early in your game and learning these abilities and these skills to get them to where you want them ahead of time. Now, for her intermediate class, I actually picked kind of a bad call, which was picking the Lord, because Lords specialize in swords and lances and authority. So that doesn't really help particularly too much when it comes to turning her into a Wyvern Lord. But it still has an advantage in the lances, but the swords and authority will ultimately not be extremely useful. But that's basically how I think the best way to go through classes is going to be is to skip the beginners, because their abilities you gain are not really worth leveling up for. Go straight to intermediate as soon as you can, then proceed to advanced and then master after that. As you progress through the story, you're going to be able to additionally buy things that you can use to promote your character. So if you go to the marketplace, for example, you can go to the item shop and you can purchase any of the seals you have available. So beginner seals will be available after, I want to say, chapter 3 if I remember correctly. Intermediate seals is around chapter 6 or 7, and then advanced seals start to show up around 8 and 9, and then master seals are 11 to 12 depending on when you guys go through certain levels and things of that nature. One last thing to note before I let you guys all go is that there is certain levels that your characters can also be promoted at. They need this level requirement before they can go to beginner, intermediate, advanced, master. Now that's going to work. It's going to be level 5 to become a beginner, level 10 to be intermediates, level 15 for advanced. I'm sorry, level 20 for advanced. I apologize. It goes from level 10 to level 20 for advanced, and then it's going to be level 30 for master. Max level cap, as I understand, is 40. There are a few unique classes that you will gain along your journey, such as for your main character, your Byleth character, your protagonist, the professor character, can learn a unique class called Enlightened One a certain way through the story. Hubert, for example, can become a Dark Mage instead of just a regular mage as long as you have a Dark Seal. And then he can additionally also become a Dark Bishop, I believe is the class name here. You can become a Dark Bishop, but again, it requires another Dark Seal. So those are things you get at certain chapters in the game. And I'm not sure if there's a certain amount of times you can gain those, but there is multiple times, and the minimal of 3 times I've personally experienced in the first 10 chapters that you can get Dark Seals if you prioritize fighting the right enemies. And basically along those lines, yeah, you got lots to work with. So work backwards with your classes. Make sure you guys skip those beginners because they're really not worth it. Go ahead and enjoy it. Another thing to note, you can make any character pretty much excel at almost any ability. So feel free to customize them and make them exactly what you want. I know this video got a little long there, but I wanted to make sure I went through all the depth on all of that and how the classes work, as they're a little bit more unique and there's a lot of freedom to make your characters anything you'd like in this game, and it is absolutely fantastic. This has been Unpunk. Hope this video helped you guys out. If it did, please drop a like. It'd be super awesome. Helps promote the video here in the algorithm on YouTube, because you know YouTube's a little wonky recently. If you guys like this content and want to see more of my playthroughs or more content on this game, either leave a comment or subscribe. Both will show me that you guys are interested in the content, and we'll make more of it as it goes. Thanks again, and we'll see you guys soon. Peace.